What's going on, guys? Welcome in. I'm in LA. I'm at my condo. This is the first podcast I've ever taped at my condo in LA because usually when I'm out here, I go into studio. So I've never had the need to tape a podcast from my condo, but I thought that this one could be fun, might be kind of nice to do from the comfort of my own place. I just got off of a plane. And I'm out here for a long weekend for some work stuff. I'm supposed to tape podcasts all day on Monday, but I don't know. I was feeling like I've been in this energy and I just wanted to do a podcast about it and get this out quickly. So you guys will obviously be listening to this on Tuesday. It is the Friday before this Tuesday that it's going to go out. And usually I film them a few days earlier. But I don't know, yesterday I just decided, I was like, you know what? I'm going to pack all of my podcast stuff with me that I used to it's my old setup that I have. And I used to take it with me when I would film a podcast on the road. And so I just decided I'm going to take it with me and I'm going to film a podcast from my condo. So here's the tea, guys. Here's what's going on. So I've been in sort of this weird, interesting energy. And I feel like this is sort of a turning point for me in my life. It's almost like I'm actually really fired up. I'm like really excited. I'm living in this very excited energy, but like a little amped up. And I'm feeling a little rebellious, which is sort of a natural state for me, sort of always has been. But sometimes it's more than others. The rebellious state sort of ebbs and flows. And I'm currently sitting in this very rebellious state. But I've learned obviously how to sort of like channel that rebellion over the years to be more constructive rather than just getting me into trouble. But I deleted TikTok and I deleted it off of my phone, I should say. My account still exists, but it is no longer on my phone. And I'm just in this mode right now of realizing that and we all get to control what comes into our lives. We get to filter and decide what we want in our lives, who has access to us, who gets to give an opinion in our lives. And I think what I realized with TikTok in particular was that you're constantly being bombarded with information and different people's opinions and just all of these things coming at you. And even if you don't feel like you're taking it in, on a subconscious level, we are in fact absorbing this information, whether we like it or not, or whether we choose to believe it or not. It is affecting us more than we probably want to admit. And I also just changed my number recently, and these things sort of go hand in hand because I've just decided protecting my peace is the most important thing for me. And I've worked really hard to get my life to this place of being peaceful. And that doesn't mean I don't deal with stuff. Of course I do. I mean, there are days in my life that are not peaceful, but overall I would say my life has become very peaceful, but I've had to work really hard at that. And what happened was I've sort of been in this like weird funk, I guess is the right word, since my most recent show came out. And what I realized was that I've just felt really accessible. And what it was for me with the show was so many people's opinions. And really what it was from the show was like, you know, between filming the show, and there's a lot of opinions involved in that whole process, to then going on the press circus for it and doing interviews and, you know, constantly being bombarded with all of these different energies and people's opinions. And unfortunately for me, my TikTok, I am my own algorithm. So I get fed a lot of these videos about me, and it drives me crazy if I'm being completely honest. really drives me crazy. And even though I purposely don't read comments on TikTok or Instagram, I inevitably do see them sometimes, because even just going on Instagram, when there's your activity page or whatever it is, because I will go to see, like, I think you can toggle between all activity, who you follow, verified. And I like to see people that I follow, like the activity there. But in order to get there, I have to first just automatically lands on the page that shows all of the activity. So I will sometimes see comments from people. I see when people are fighting in my comments. Like, it's a really low vibrational thing for me. And I don't want all of those opinions to have access to me, because the thing is, I would never normally have access to all of these opinions about me if it wasn't for social media. And actually, that was kind of a nice thing about Laguna Beach, was I had to search out people's opinions of me. I had to go on to a website and go on to a chat room, which I did do. I mean, I did do that in the very beginning, because I did want to see what people were saying about me, and it was never positive. But that was it. But if I never wanted to see that again, I never had to see it again. There wasn't this direct line of communication that now we have through social media. And even though I am living in this place of knowing that other people's opinions have nothing to do with me, and I mean that for everybody. I mean, other people's opinions of you have nothing to do with you. And you can know that. And I can be really rooted in that. And I am rooted in that. But it's still, I just don't like all of that energy being able to come at me. And I just realized I get to control that, actually. I can decide if I'm allowing all of that into my world, and I'm allowed to set boundaries to keep my peace. But I've just gotten to a place of realizing pop culture, even sports now, I feel like sports is just as bad as pop culture. Politics, like, everything has gotten so out of hand and so nasty. And I will always go back to the fact that it is a very low vibrational thing. Celebrity gossip, any kind of gossip, it's nasty, and that's not what I want in my life. And I also feel like social media has become this place for just fear mongering.
All right, you guys, I want to take a quick second here to talk to you about ritual. There is just so much that goes into your everyday life when you're trying to just maintain. So, for me, it's of course getting the kids off to school and all of the sports. It's exercise. It's staying on top of all of my work stuff. It's also maintaining my house. There's an endless list as a mom and just a human being in the world. And so sometimes I find that it's difficult for me to switch off and actually be able to relax, because I'm someone who just goes, goes, goes. So I'm really excited to talk to you guys about Ritual's Magnesium Plus, because it's now putting your evening unwind center stage with a blend of magnesium, bisglycinate, and tart cherry powder for mind and muscle relaxation. When I'm consistent with this Magnesium Plus, I really notice a difference. And not only is the taste great, it's been a really easy addition to my routine, but it just really does, I feel like, make me feel relaxed at night. I sleep like a baby and I feel great the next morning. What's so great about this too is that Ritual selected a bioavailable form of magnesium that's gentle on the stomach. It's clinically studied to support stress and mind relaxation, ease leg cramps during pregnancy. How cool is that? And support period cramping, and provides PMS support. Thank you very much. The tart cherry is made from Michigan grown Montmorency tart cherries, backed by over 20 clinical studies and 15 years of research. It's clinically studied to support muscle recovery and quality sleep. So, guys, you can sit back and raise a glass to your new evening ritual with Magnesium Plus. Get 25% off your first month at ritual.com/beehonest. Let's talk about Skims. You guys know I did not want to love Skims the way that I do, but my God, they do make the best bras and underwear. What can I say? Before Skims, underwear was always an afterthought for me. I would focus more on what I was wearing on the outside and think that a new dress or a new jacket would make me feel my best. But Skims has made me realize that the bra and panty I put on in the morning is actually what defines whether I'll be feeling amazing in my clothes. I personally love their Fits Everybody thong. I've tried every thong on the market and nothing even compares to the Fits Everybody thong from Skims. It's soft, stretchy, and it's completely seamless. I wear it all day, every day without ever thinking about it because it fits like a glove and it doesn't dig in or move around. You guys know what I'm talking about. I also really love their Fits Everybody plunge bra. The Fits Everybody plunge bra has quickly become one of my go-to everyday bras. So shop my favorite bras and underwear at skims.com. After you place your order, be sure to let them know that I sent you. Select podcast in the survey and be sure to select Let's Be Honest in the drop-down menu that follows. All right, let's talk about Wayfair. It's definitely bittersweet that summer is winding down, but I gotta say, I really do love just being in a routine. You know, the kids back in school. I live and die for structure. I'm also in this mode right now because my whole outdoor area is finally moving along. It's going to be done here in another month or two. And so I'm currently building a gym and there's going to be a storage area in there. And so I've been browsing the Wayfair website for all of their storage containers and just how to make a storage area still look good and be super organized. But Wayfair really has absolutely everything you could imagine. They've got everything from bedding and bath basics to anything you need for your kids' rooms to home decor. They've got great kitchen essentials. I also am looking at all of their outdoor furniture right now because I will be buying that stuff here coming up as well. But Wayfair really is so convenient because they have everything your home needs this season. They have free and easy delivery, even on the big stuff. No more huge delivery fees for furniture, and you can get stuff like sofas, dining tables, beds, desks, and more all shipped free. You can find all of your must-haves from furniture and decor to appliances and cookware all in one convenient place. Get organized, refreshed, and back to routine for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home.
That's actually my biggest issue with it because if you scroll TikTok, and maybe this is just my algorithm, but now we're all eating a credit card sized amount of plastic every single week. We all are living in mold. So you have to detox because you have mold toxicity and, you are an avoidant attachment and that's why you can't find love. Also, everyone in your life is a narcissist. It's not you, it's everyone else. And you can no longer, or you shouldn't eat scrambled eggs because the yolk is cooked too much. And so the nutrients are gone. Well, some of that information is good. And I will say I've gotten some great tips on TikTok, like soaking your fruit in water and baking soda for like 10-15 minutes is a great way to remove pesticides. That is an awesome tip. I have used that now for over a year when I first heard that. And I love that. That's great. So there are really great things on there, but it's just information overload and it's so overwhelming and it's making us question things that we never normally would have questioned. I mean, I never even was thinking about mold toxicity, but now I've convinced myself that my house, even though it's like 2 years old, I've convinced myself that there's mold in my house. And I really do believe that what we focus on grows. I think that we can actually sort of control our reality depending on our thoughts. And I think our mind is more powerful than we will ever even know. But I think, allowing all this information into our subconscious now, all of a sudden, we're going to start to question things that we never even would have thought twice about before. And I don't know, is ignorance bliss? I think in a lot of ways it sort of is. Again, because I actually think our mind is so powerful that if we're going to focus on, we'll just keep using mold toxicity. Well, if that's all you're thinking about now and focusing on, it's going to grow. I mean, that's energy. That's science for all the people out there that are like, well, what about science? Well, that is science. And I actually want to do a whole episode about quantum physics and that topic alone. I want to talk to someone who specializes in that because I'm so fascinated by all of that. But I just think it makes us question everything that we're doing in our life. And it actually makes us feel like we can't do anything right. Social media preys on our insecurities and it preys on us wanting to question our own truth. And I do feel like we've all lost the ability to listen to ourselves and to just check in with ourselves and figure out what works for us. Because one way of eating, one way of thinking, one way of living doesn't work for everybody. Life is not one size fits all. And I actually think that's the beautiful thing about life, is that we are all different. And I mean, I just think, imagine if we all thought the exact same way, how boring life would be. I love conversations with my friends where there's different points of view and we can have a conversation about how they see the world, and it can be a very respectful, interesting conversation. And then, you know, they can hear my perspective, and it doesn't mean that we all have to agree. It's just listening to each other and having different points of view. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think that's the other thing that, too, that social media has done, is it's gotten us to this place of like accusing other people that if you don't think the same way that I think, and if you don't do the same things that I do, well, something's wrong with you, or you're a bad person, or your way is wrong. Since when are we all supposed to be doing the exact same things? I mean, even food alone, what I eat on a daily basis is not going to be right for everybody. Think of all of the different diets out there. Some people are plant-based. Some people want to eat steak and eggs for breakfast. Some people want to fast until noon. I mean, and you have to do what works for you. But social media will make you think that if you're not on the carnivore diet, well, then you're going to die. I mean, that's literally how they make you feel. We all have the power within us. And that's the part where checking in with yourself and tuning in is so important, because being able to sit with yourself and figure out what works for you rather than what someone on social media told you to do is way more important than what some fitness influencer has decided works for her. So now she thinks this is what everyone else has to be doing. And social media wants us to think that if you don't fit into this mold of what it's portraying, there's something wrong with you. And again, it's preying on people's insecurity. And I think it's making everyone go a little crazy, to be honest with you. I think people have sort of lost themselves and lost their power and lost who they are. And when we slow down, when we sit in the quiet and shut out the noise, that's when we can actually find our power. It's listening to that inner voice. It's that knowing. It's your gut feeling, really. And we all have it. I mean, I talk about this a lot. We all have that. It's just a matter of tuning into it and trusting it. But your inner voice, that inner guide, is your best compass for life. And again, it's not the same for all of us because we're all on a different journey. My overall themes of my life are very different than yours. Or maybe some of us have similarities, but you never really know someone's journey until you walk a mile in their shoes. I mean, there's the reason that saying has been around for so long. You know, we never truly know anybody's whole story. And my issue with phones is that the phones have taken away us sitting in our own thoughts. You know, before phones, if you were in the car, let's say, and you weren't driving and you were in the passenger seat or you were in the back seat, you would maybe have the music on, maybe you'd be listening to music, maybe you'd be talking to the other people in the car a little bit, but there would be moments where you would look out the window and you would just sort of daydream a little bit, and you would be able to sift through your thoughts and maybe work out some things in your head, you know, that you needed to give a little bit of attention to. And, you know, I think about like when I used to fly, even in middle school, I remember I would write in middle school. No kid is doing that anymore because they've got phones, you know, and listen, I think a lot of people obviously still do write. I've sort of picked up writing again, but I think about our kids, and kids don't know how to be bored anymore. Once kids get a phone, they never sit in their thoughts anymore. I mean, ever. And we had to do that growing up. You know, now our phones have become so addictive that any chance of having a moment by yourself where you could be lost in your thoughts is now our knee-jerk reaction is to pick up our phone, especially at the airport, because I guess the airport is so fresh in my mind because I just came from the airport. But instead of just putting your phone in your pocket and walking to your gate and people watching is so much fun. But now if you look around, everyone is lost in their phone. Their head is down and they are lost in their phone. And I just think about all of those little times. If you're at an appointment somewhere and you're in the waiting room, now everyone is lost in their phone. If you are picking up food somewhere and you're outside the restaurant and you're just standing there, you're on your phone. Like, we've lost the ability to just stand there, maybe smile at a stranger that walks by and be lost in our own head. And people watching is so great. And kids don't know how to do that anymore. No one knows how to do that anymore. And I think about like my own kids, and well, I will say I have all of those parental controls on my kids' phones where you can like shut off all of their apps for an extended period of time. Like, their apps go off at night and they don't go back on until 7 a.m. in the morning. And actually, now that I'm saying this out loud, I think I'm going to push the 7 a.m. because what happens is my kids come out before school for breakfast and they all sit at the kitchen counter and they automatically all go to their phones. And I say it every morning. I'm like, put your phones down. I call it the zombie apocalypse because, and this is what I say to my kids, is when you guys are walking around like this with your head in your phone, you're like zombies. And like, you're not there. You're a zombie. You are not here. And so when they sit at the kitchen counter, I'm like, this is not the zombie apocalypse. I'm sorry. I'm not going to let you guys become zombies. And well, and I honestly don't agree with my younger two having phones. I really wanted to wait until all of my kids were 12 years old to get a phone, which is what happened with Camden. But, and I know a lot of you can say, well, you're the parent, just take their phone away. Yeah. Well, I also didn't buy Jackson and Sailor their phones. So, you know, it's actually slightly more complicated than that in my situation, but I can control what I can control. And that is, you know, having these parental controls on their phones is great. I actually didn't know that existed until recently. So I'm really happy that I figured that out, because you can also put time constraints on each app individually if you want, or on every single app. But social media has a very short window on it that they can get on every day. So that's been nice. But I just, you know, I think about my kids and how, yeah, like when are they just sitting in their thoughts? Like, because you have to be in your thoughts to process a lot of stuff. Otherwise, I think a lot of stuff gets pushed down. Like, you have to actively think about things in your head to work it out sometimes.
Okay, I love talking to you guys about this one, and that is the Jolie shower filter. I can't even begin to imagine all of the money that I've spent over the years on skincare and beauty products to battle issues like acne or damaged hair, or I even think about Jackson when he was a baby with eczema, or change in hair color. I mean, you know, the list goes on, but I recently realized that I was completely overlooking the most fundamental step. And you guys, that's the water that we shower in. We all know how important it is to filter the water that we drink, but why don't we think the same way about the water that we shower in? Clean water is the first step to an effective beauty routine, and it's a step that I just completely overlooked. The difference that the Jolie has made for my skin and my hair is really incredible. My hair is back to how it used to be years ago, which is really thick. It's growing really fast, and my blonde is no longer fading and getting really brassy in between colors, and I swear it's because of this shower head. Jolie is a beauty wellness company that purifies the water we shower in for better skin, hair, and just overall well-being. Jolie's filtered shower head is best in class for removing chlorine and heavy metals. It's the only lab-tested and clinically trialed filtering shower head on the market. Jolie will give you your best skin and hair guaranteed. Head to jolieskinco.com/honest to try it out for yourself with free shipping. And if you don't like it, you can return your Jolie for a full refund within 60 days, no questions asked. Well, here's one of my favorite brands, I guess you could call it, Shopify. This is for all of my business owners, my boss babes out there. I have been using Shopify since the inception of Uncommon James over 8 years ago, you guys. And they have grown with me the entire way. I know that starting your own business can be really intimidating and lonely, thanks to all of the hats that you suddenly have to wear. But when I launched Uncommon James and I launched with Shopify, it made that process as easy as possible. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to smaller brands like Uncommon James. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand's style. It also can help you accelerate your content creation. Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that write product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product photography. I mean, really, there is nothing that Shopify can't do. And the fact that they've been able to grow with us for 8 years is incredible. I can't say enough good stuff. So they are the platform you want if you're going to be launching a business. Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/Cavallari. Go to shopify.com/Cavallari. That is shopify.com/Cavallari. You guys know I love colostrum, so let's talk about Armra. In a world that's constantly changing, your health just should never be up for debate. From the latest wellness trends to the chaos of modern culture, we're always questioning what's real and what's just noise. But one thing is for certain, your body wasn't designed for the nonstop stress, the processed foods, and all the environmental toxins of today's world. Armra colostrum is nature's original superfood, packed with over 400 bioactive nutrients that fortify gut health, strengthen immunity, revitalize hair growth, and fuel performance at the cellular level. Because no matter where you stand on the latest hot topic, feeling your best, guys, is just never up for discussion. You guys know I love colostrum. I have been taking it for years at this point now, and it's really made a huge difference in not only my skin, my hair, my nails, which I definitely notice it in, but I swear to God, it helps with metabolism. I think it really fires your metabolism. It also gives you a lot of lasting great energy. And it's also really great for your gut. I mean, it really has so many incredible health benefits. Not only do I take it, but I sneak it in smoothies for my kids as well. And I've worked out a special offer for my audience. You guys can receive 30% off your first subscription order. Go to armra.com/honest, or you can enter honest to get 30% off your first subscription order. That's armra.com/honest. The phone is definitely a numbing agent. It is a numbing agent that is creating zombies, yet it's also preying on insecurities and enhancing them. And more than social media, more than the phone, you know, like I said, I changed my number and I was very selective with who I gave my new number to, because I just asked myself, what's the most important thing for me in my day-to-day life? And for me, it's harnessing this peace. And that starts with what's in your head. You know, I think peace really is what's going on in here. And so for me, you know, that means quieting the mind and realizing I have a lot of control into what I'm allowing into my world. And we all have that control. And you know, your outside world is a direct reflection of what's happening inside. I wholeheartedly believe that. And so if you don't like something that's going on in your world, you know, then you have to ask yourself, well, how can I change it? What can I do? What are little things maybe that can have a great impact? I mean, again, huge example is deleting TikTok off your phone. Maybe even changing your number. It's so funny because when I told like a lot of my friends that I changed my number, I had friends that were like, I've had my number since freshman year of high school. I've had my number since, you know, I mean, for years and years and years. And that's kind of wild to me. I don't know. I just think that's kind of wild to me. I just think, because also what I did was I went through my
when I got my new number, I sat down at my kitchen counter, and it took me about an hour, but I did it. I went through my most recent text messages. I didn't go through my contacts. I went through my most recent text messages, and that was who I decided to text, because I thought, I only want the real people in my life, like the people I actively speak to have my new number. And so if someone wasn't in those text messages, well, they didn't get a text, because I don't talk to them that much. And I figure if someone is important to me and is supposed to be in my life, they'll figure out a way to get a hold of me. But I needed to do it. There were a lot of people in my life that, not in my life, but there were a lot of people that had access to me that I didn't want having access to me. And also, guys, think about it. I got that number about 5 years ago. And so that's basically, I've had that number the whole time I've been single and I've been dating. And so think about every guy I've ever gone on a date with. All of those people have my number. And there are a couple of guys who, it's weird, they still text me and I don't respond, and they keep texting me over and over and over. And I really think it's these guys with their friends going, yeah, I went on a date with Kristin Cavallari. I'll text her right now. And I mean, if I showed you the text messages, you would be like, what? Because it doesn't make any sense, because I never respond. I always leave them on read, and I will have 8 or 9 text messages like we're buddies. And there's one guy I'm thinking in particular I went on one date years ago, and he still texts me. It's just like, and I realized I could block individual numbers, but there were just like enough people that I was like, I don't know. I like having a clean slate. I just feel like this new energy is among me right now. And I don't know. I feel like this is the beginning of a new chapter in my life. And maybe I'm also feeling like that because I am going to be on hiatus for just a little bit. I don't know exactly how long. I will, of course, keep you guys updated through social media and then the podcast. If you follow the podcast, you will, of course, get those updates. So stay tuned on that. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick it off doing some Hills rewatch episodes, which I've already done the first 2. And oh my God, am I having fun doing it? I cannot wait to get those out. I haven't watched The Hills since it came out. And it's a very different experience for me watching The Hills than it was watching Laguna Beach, because those shows were at the time very different experiences for me. And The Hills was really fun because The Hills, it felt like just a job, and I got to play up this character. And going and watching it back has been a wild ride. And in the meantime, since I won't be recording podcasts for a minute and I no longer have TikTok, and I don't even really go on Instagram that much, I'm going to have more time. So I've downloaded Rosetta Stone. I'm going to learn Italian. I started doing Rosetta Stone when I was probably 25 or 26, and I loved it. And then I went to Italy and I could understand just a little bit, which was fun. And then I thought I would come home and I would continue it, which of course I never did. So here I am over 10 years later, and I'm committing to picking it up. I think learning another language and being fluent in another language is such a cool thing to have in your back pocket. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to play more board games with my kids. Because, that was the thing. Even though I wasn't even on TikTok that much, this episode probably sounds like I was constantly scrolling. I wasn't. But for me, I think about the nighttime routine and with the kids, and making dinner, having dinner as a family, and then cleaning up the kitchen. And then typically after dinner, I'd be like, okay, all I want to do is sit on the couch and zone out and do some mindless scrolling for 30 minutes, let's say. But that's 30 minutes that's 30 minutes wasted to me. And in turn, if I'm sitting on the couch scrolling, well, my boys are probably playing video games, Sailor's probably scrolling. And I don't like that. I would rather have all of us together creating memories and laughing and having fun. So that's what we've been doing. We've played a lot of Battleship. We love Battleship at my house. We love Uno too. And going for walks. Jackson and I went for a walk the other night. I also love when one of them wants to go. Jackson specifically asked me if I would go for a walk. And I was like, oh my God, Mo, of course I would. I would love to. That's great just to have some one-on-one time. But, and then the boys, Sailor, where was Sailor? Oh, she went to a little youth group. And so the boys and I were just at the kitchen table, just chatting and laughing. And I don't know, these years are so precious, and the kids are growing up so fast that I don't want to look back and be like, why was I sitting on my phone? Like this time with my kids is it's just precious. It's precious. And I want to savor every moment because everyone is so busy now with sports and everything that just being together as a family, and especially when no one's fighting, like those moments I really do cherish. So that's what I'll be doing. And I hope you guys know that your support with everything I do, especially this podcast, is so incredible. And it really means the world to me. I don't know how else to describe it or explain it, because I just feel very lucky that I'm able to have a podcast and speak directly to you guys, and that I get to call this work. This is a dream job for sure. And I sort of look at like my years on reality TV, and while it was a lot of fun and there were of course great things that came out of it, it was stressful in a lot of ways. And had I known at age 17 or 22, like if someone would have told me, listen, all of this that you're going through one day is going to be worth it, because it will eventually lead to this podcast, and you'll eventually be able to control your voice, and people will actually finally get to see you for you, that would have made it a lot better, I think. And so I'm just really thankful that I get to do this now. And my journey is definitely, it's all worth it. And you guys supporting me along the way is everything. So I love you guys so much. I always appreciate you guys listening, and stay tuned for when I'll be back. All right. But we will be back. Don't you worry. And we'll kick it off with the hills. I love you guys so much. Be well. Delete TikTok. Bye.